Hi everyone, I'm so sorry to be a few minutes late. What a week it has been. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I usually try and post news now on YouTube and on Twitter because I know not all of you are on social media. But I was feeling so poorly on Tuesday because I had a very bad case of food poisoning that I just couldn't log on. I just didn't have the strength to log on to YouTube. So I apologize. But thank you for joining me. We're starting off stream. And then I had a contact lens issue right before the stream started, which is why I'm 10 minutes late. I was trying to fix it. I kind of fixed it. So my eye's bothering me just a little. Apologies. But anyway, it's on a Thursday, the first stream of the week. So as always, I'm going to gift 5 memberships. So bear with me here for a moment. I do this at the top of every week to match your incredible generosity. Here we go. Thank you, Paul. If you would like to be, and also Chris, thanks for joining. Thank you, Bubbles. Memberships are the best way to support the channel because you not only help me out, but somebody else benefits as well. If you would like to get a membership, a gifted membership, first of all, you have to turn on that you're willing to accept gifts. I forget how to do that off the top of my head, but you can just Google it. And then also, wow, look at AG's generosity. Thank you so much. And then you have to interact with the channel a lot because YouTube selects who gets them, not me. Thank you, Drago. So the way it works is that if you interact with the channel, like by being a member previously, subscribing, leaving lots of comments, YouTube tries to give the memberships to the people that that the algorithm feels would appreciate them the most. Oh, look at Alex gifting 10 memberships. Thank you guys. You're all so kind. All right, so we're going to dive right into today's stories. Please try to keep your comments and questions to the story at hand. And I'm going to address your comments and questions at the end of each story. And then at the end, as always, I'll do a 10-minute Ask Me Anything. All right, let's get into it. I actually have a copious amount of notes for today's stories because it's all the drama, so much drama. All right. Thank you, Heinrich. So many new members for today's stream. Thanks for coming back, guys, and I apologize. There will be a stream tomorrow as well. I can't do 3 streams this week because I've just been so behind and being sick took more time than I anticipated, but I do want to do the 2 streams, so there will be one tomorrow as well. All righty then. All right, story number 1. Here it comes. Boop. Oh, the drama. So much drama. So I was going to ask you who to start with, if you wanted to start with first, but I'm going to start with Seinfeld because it leads into the Dwayne Johnson situation, and also the Dwayne Johnson situation is the juicier one and the longer one as well. So I'm going to tell you what's going on, and then I'm also going to tell you my thoughts on these scandalous situations. All right, so, and I'll be very curious. We'll do some don't worry, we'll do some polls at the end, okay, of this story, because I want to explain it to you first. So what's Seinfeld doing? Well, that's a picture of him on the red carpet for Unfrosted, his new Netflix movie that comes out actually tomorrow. AG, 50 memberships now? AG, your generosity is incredible. That's 70 memberships. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. All right, so Seinfeld, first what Seinfeld did was he said, as you might recall, he said that the movie business is dead. He said, it's no longer the center of the cultural conversation. It's all about streaming and nobody knows where to go anymore. He said, just the whole thing was a mess. And then he was trending earlier, I believe it was this week. He was trending earlier this week because he said that the extreme left and woke had killed comedy. And, that really lit a fire under him on social media because, of course, you had people on the extreme right being like, that's Seinfeld. They were saying Seinfeld gets it. And then on the left, extreme and otherwise, they were saying, what the heck happened to Seinfeld? Thanks, AG. You're a sweetheart. All right, so my first instinct off of this is that clearly methinks Unfrosted is not a good movie. And this is Seinfeld trying to get out in front of it. I think that Seinfeld, when he says the movie business is dead, if you look at the comments that he made, if you look at the details of what he said everyone on set was freaking out while he filmed Unfrosted, and they had all these problems and issues, and that's why he feels. And he said, "Slow down, guys. Who even cares what you think? Because the movie business is dead." So clearly, that's one thing. And then when he's saying, "Oh, thank you, Bay. Hi, Bay. I hope you saw my message to you. I tried to get through to you." So anyway. Then when he said that the extreme left has killed comedy, I think he clearly feels like people are going to say his movie isn't funny. So he's like, don't blame me. He's going to say, blame the notes that he got. So clearly that's what I think he's trying to set up. He's trying to get out in front of his movie, probably going to get really beat up. And so he wants to say it wasn't him. The process killed his movie. I think that's what he's trying to do. All right? Now, I really hate the term woke. I think it's a disgusting term. In fact, for the most part, it's blocked on my channel. But I unblocked it today so that you would be able to comment on these stories. And I'll leave it unblocked for a couple of days. But I really hate the term. I feel it's extremely insensitive. And I think, I think that it's just like a dog whistle for a certain really distasteful group. Okay, so I hate the term. I just absolutely hate it, and I think it's insensitive to people that would like representation. And there's nothing wrong for wanting it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be represented in the entertainment that you're consuming. So I hate it. I'd say DEI is the new term that's also taken over, which I haven't blocked it on this channel yet, although maybe now I might have to. But I did block DEI on Twitter because I thought I was so disgusted in the way that it was being used. I thought it was ridiculous. I don't even want to get into it because it's going to take us down a whole different road. But I think it's appalling. All right, so I think that Seinfeld, I think that he's wrong. Okay, to say that the extreme left has killed comedy. All right. Oh, DEI is diversity and inclusion. That's what DEI stands for. All right. So I think that no joke should make anyone sad. Like, what's the point of the laugh? It's just a laugh. Why would you want to laugh at the expense of somebody? I think that's really appalling. And I think you can be very funny without doing that. I saw Jerry Seinfeld perform in Las Vegas a while back, and he was hilarious. He was talking about the rows and cookie packages, how you feel you have to finish each row, even though it's like 20 cookies. Hilarious. He was talking about the difference between answering the phone back before, texting. Okay, it was a hilarious joke. So I'll just basically tell you the joke. Jerry Seinfeld said, before texting, whenever the phone rang, you would be excited. And you'd be like, I'll get it. And you would run to get the phone. You'd be like, who is it? So I thought that was so funny. And he said, today, when the phone rings, everybody goes, nobody move. Who dare call us? And it was a hilarious joke. It was so funny. And it didn't have anything offensive to anybody in it. It didn't punch down. And I think that Jerry Seinfeld is not totally understanding his whole appeal. The whole appeal of Jerry Seinfeld, hey Chris, is that he makes jokes that everyone can enjoy. Those to me are classic Seinfeld jokes. I also feel you can make fun of yourself as a comedian. John Mulaney, who I feel has modeled himself quite a bit after Jerry Seinfeld actually, did a wonderful job. He makes fun. I think a very good job also talking about his recovery in that it helps other people. And that's right, J-Lo. George Carlin never punched down. You should never punch down. And it's funny. I just reviewed The Fall Guy, which I said was a lot like The Nice Guys. But I just reviewed The Fall Guys, and I said I didn't appreciate that it made fun of Dune. And someone in the comments said, Dune can take it. Dune is, so successful it can take the joke. It can take the jokes, right? But that wasn't my point. My point was that I felt the movie made fun of the Dune fans, and that to me is punching down. I don't think Hollywood should ever make fun of fans in any regard, in any context, in any project, because that is the lifeblood of the industry. So that to me, I feel that The Fall Guy very much does punch down in that regard. So that's how I feel. I don't at all agree with Jerry Seinfeld's comments, and I think in an effort to save his reputation on this one movie, he might have totally ruined his whole legacy. So I don't understand. This is why you have a publicist who goes, don't say that, Jerry, because here's what it really is going to be taken as, and it's a very bad idea, right? I mean, he's been like tiptoeing towards this for a little bit, but I wish he hadn't done it. I mean, he just went all the way. Now that's what's interesting to me. What connects these two stories? What connects Seinfeld and Dwayne Johnson? Well, they both used the term, the W term. They both used it. I don't even want to say it. They both used the term. And so, obviously, again, as I said, that term, very poor association at this point. And I do feel that it put a target on both of them with the press. I think that it did, okay? Although, I don't agree with what Seinfeld said. I feel like the reporting on it could have been a little bit better, I feel like a lot of it was like, here's what Seinfeld said. What do you think about it? I think it would have been better. I stand by the reporting I just did on it. That's what I'll say. All right? But let's talk about Mr. Dwayne Johnson. So I'm going to talk about what Dwayne Johnson did, and then I'm also, just to say, I'm going to share my thoughts on why he did it and how I feel about it. Thank you, Richard. That's a cute little sticker you put there. That's adorable. All right, so when I first heard when Dwayne Johnson, every time I see a bad Dwayne Johnson story these days, like when he used woke about a month ago, and then when this expose came out like the other day, I was like, man, that DC curse is strong. Really, that's honestly my reaction. I'm like, this thing is incredible. I would love to see DC rise like the phoenix from the ashes. But I feel so far, I haven't seen anyone do it. So far, the DC curse is alive and well. It's shocking. It's like the Superman curse, by the way. Although that's much more serious so far. But yeah, I think it's amazing. So the reason we're talking about Dwayne Johnson now, and I'm finally going to address this other interview, is that The Wrap, in an article by a reporter who shall remain unnamed, but has a little bit of a reputation. Thank you, Mark Lavelle. Has a slight reputation for, let's say, writing some stories that, I don't even want to get into it, okay? But wrote an expose. No one picked it up, by the way, which I think is very interesting. These days, when one trade writes something, all the other trades immediately quote it and write their own article, which I've seen them do it like almost immediately. To the point where, I saw the story first, okay? I think I saw one trade have a quote and be like, oh, look at this. And then I scrolled down and I saw the original story at another trade below it in the feed where they said, oh, here's our exclusive. But the other trade just went yoink and took the exclusive and packaged it themselves. So I was like, that's insane. So that's what they're willing to do. But they didn't do it with this rap story about Dwayne Johnson. I think because it was a little shady, and then also, I'm sure Dwayne Johnson has an excellent publicity team who was like, don't repeat this story. All right, so what was the story? So Amazon's Red One, okay? Thank you, Optimus Prime Ribs. So Amazon's Red One is his Christmas movie that's coming out this Christmas. And it not only co-stars Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons, Oscar winner J.K. Simmons. I'm sure both of them are like, how the hell did we get involved in this? Part of the story is that Dwayne Johnson apparently urinated into a water bottle, and not just any water bottle, thank you, a Voss water bottle, the most shishi of water bottles, because he was like, oh, I don't want to mess up our timing, and he didn't want to go find a bathroom. Okay, so I'm sure, yeah, that's right, Mexican 8 Nacho. The PR tour is going to be insane. Because you know that every single interview, particularly like a late night talk show, is going to ask J.K. Simmons and Chris Evans if Dwayne Johnson is peeing in water bottles. And like, what are they going to do? I think it really sucks for them. So, I mean, and we don't even know if it's true, by the way. All right? Unless someone has a picture of him doing it, I don't think it's an appropriate accusation. All right? And, and I've seen people, I've gotten some of these snaps. People take pictures on set. Okay? So I don't see why. And they said that they made like a PA get rid of it. So I don't understand why an upset PA didn't like take a picture and be like, to use someday, right? All right, so that was the most salacious of the accusations, but they also said that he was often up to 8 hours late to film, and it was so bad they often had to film around him, and that also that it made the cost of the production skyrocket to like $250 million. And they came after everybody. They were saying that the producers from Dwayne Johnson's company don't have enough experience. They said the people at Amazon who are running the film division overseeing this movie didn't have enough experience. And you're like, what the heck is happening here, man? But yet every single official comment was very supportive of Dwayne Johnson, from the WWE, where they also said he was late all the time. I mean, Madonna's late too, right? I mean, that happens, right? To, Amazon. Amazon also backed him fully. All right? Now, unfortunately, there's a little bit of smoke here. And that he, of course, had an infamous feud with Vin Diesel on the Fast and Furious movies. But I got to tell you, I've heard some not so great stuff about Vin Diesel either. But the Fast and Furious movies print so much money that that's why he's still able to get his an amazing cast to work with him. But Dwayne Johnson doesn't need money. So maybe that's the reason that he decided to leave. Maybe they're both difficult. We don't know. And I'd also like to say that there's a lot of sharing in the press. Unless there's someone did something like illegal, okay, or criminal, right? You're supposed, this stuff's supposed to stay, in the industry. So to me, I'm not sure why this got out. To me, it feels like an extension of his interview that he did. So let me touch on that. So I believe it was on Fox, all right, or Fox Sports or something. So about a month ago, Dwayne Johnson does this interview where he says that he not only hates cancel culture, and there's a discussion to be had there, right? But then he also said that he was not in favor, he felt the world was becoming woke. And again, everybody was like, that disappointed me that he used that term. That really disappointed me a lot. Hey, Fabin91, I was sad that he used the term. Because I really have loved Dwayne Johnson. I've interacted with him a few times on social media. I interviewed him once, and it was just really disheartening to see him use that term. And so I think it probably, as I said, it put a target on him, okay? But not a huge target, because again, the industry didn't go like a bunch of piranhas on this story. So I think he's still on somewhat steady footing. But that was bad. All right, so here are my thoughts on the Dwayne Johnson situation. I think Dwayne Johnson is a very busy guy. He has a huge empire. He's a businessman. He's interested in maybe getting into politics. He's Dwanta. Who can be Dwanta and do so many make-a-wishes, grant so many make-a-wishes that they would be like this person? It just doesn't fit to me. I see some of you turning on Dwayne Johnson. I'm disappointed in him using that term, and I hope that he maybe would apologize for it. And in fact, if I were his publicist, I would encourage him to. I would be like, I'd say he should admit to maybe going a little bit too far in the other direction. I agree with you, Jen. We'll talk about that in a moment. So, but he does so much good that I can't feel like I just can't feel that he has that much hate inside of him, because he's just such a good thing. But I do agree with Jen. Jen said he's pandering to the WWE crowd. I think that his career has been very much hurt by his affiliation with DC and how that ended up blowing up in his face. The whole thing with Henry Cavill, it's a mess. And his career really has not rebounded. He, in fact, had to retreat to the WWE to try and get some some fandom back. And that's been a mixed bag because he decided to play the villain role over there. And I think that's like very different from his Hollywood image. And so that's been a little bit hard for some of us who aren't wrestling fans to reconcile. So not only does he have the WWE, but he also, of course, as we all know, with his ex-wife and business partner, Danny Garcia, also owns a football league, right? The XNFL or whatever. And that is really trying to expand. So I think that he really, really is trying to get in good with whatever group he still has left. And I think that's why he made those comments. I think it was short-sighted. I think it was a very, very, it's the UFL? What a horrible term. That sounds awful. It sounds like a UFO. But I feel like it was a really bad move. I think in an effort to maybe move more towards the middle, he swung too far in the other direction. And I think it was really a mistake. It's just really weird. Hey, J.D. Gibbs. And I think he talked really poorly about things that I think have benefited him personally, which I also thought was weird. It's like, how can you be against woke when diversity helped him? So it was really a bizarre thing to do. Jack mentioned Moana, so we're going to talk about that in a moment, actually. But it was just really bizarre. So we'll see. I think that, let's see here. I got lost in my notes here. Oh, yeah. So I think that by using that term, I think it makes it difficult for him to work in Hollywood. All right? I think everybody's waiting to see what kind of numbers he posts. But he doesn't have a lot of projects coming up. This Red One is big for him. Maybe that's why somebody's trying to kill it. Because he has Red One dropping on Amazon this holiday season. Remember, they're supposed to have tons of merch that ties into it and everything. Remember, it was billed as a huge play. Okay? Boone Kawhi, you might say that it wasn't diversity that helped Dwayne Johnson, but don't forget that one of the most popular things he did when he started was he did the Hulk version of Barack Obama. That was huge for him. And so I really think it's a mistake for him I think he should stay out of this. I think that if he wants to get into politics, he'd have to leave entertainment. Because the name of the game in entertainment is casting as wide a net as possible. I think I would love it if he went into politics as a uniter, not a divider. Wouldn't that be what we want from him? I think that's what he should. Unfortunately, he's playing this villain role in the WWE, but why doesn't he try and be a force for positivity to bring everyone back together? Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had one of the worst scandals of all time, he's become a force for positivity, he's trying to sort out the more toxic parts of the Republican Party and focus on trying to bring everybody back together. And so that's really been a force for good. But yet, Arnold's still been true to his roots. So that to me has been very well handled. All right, so if you look at Dwayne Johnson's IMDb page, he has a whole lot of projects in development, but actually none of them are moving forward. And I wonder if he hurt those projects by making these statements. The only thing that he has that seems to be moving ahead is Moana 2 and the live-action Moana, although Disney itself needs an olive branch to the conservative community. So maybe they're like, let's just not say anything, and let's just move ahead, and maybe that'll balance things out. Let's see what happens. Moana, of course, is incredibly popular, and you can't really do Moana without Dwayne Johnson. He recently posted a photo of himself doing the voice work for Moana 2, which is moving ahead full force. So we have to see what these numbers are. We have to see how, it's both in the holiday season, by the way. We have to see how Red One does, and we have to see how, Mika, Mika, I love seeing you at screenings. You're my pal, but please don't put headlines in the news feed while I'm trying to report. Hey, writer boy. So let's see how Red One does on streaming, and let's see how Moana 2, the animated movie, does in theaters this holiday season. And then I think that we'll have a better idea of where I think that's what Hollywood's honestly waiting on. All right, so if you guys have any comments or questions, now's the time to share them, but let me do that poll, okay? Start a poll. Okay, how do you feel about, we'll do Jerry Seinfeld first. Let's just do Dwayne Johnson. You guys, yeah, all right. How do you feel about Dwayne Johnson? All right, still love the guy. Love him even more. Disappointed. And then disappointed, but could forgive. And then done with Dwayne. Done with him. Okay. Anyone can vote in a poll, by the way. Only members can chat, but anyone can vote in a poll. If you're watching, you can, don't worry about it. Let's see here. Kostas Lavrano says, that's a great name. Grace, everything where you believe the center is has moved. It feels like there's a cultural shift lately, and maybe The Rock and Seinfeld are ahead of the curve in Hollywood. I don't agree with that, Kostas. I cannot believe in any way that hate is mainstream and centrist. And I feel that the term that they use, the W term, is a hateful term. Hey, Zach, so I do not believe that. I do believe that the majority of the world, not just America, is full of moderates, the silent majority. That's how I feel about that. I know some of you disagree, but that's my comment. That's my statement. Let's see here. Subasisu says, I honestly just think that Subasisu thinks that Dwayne Johnson is honestly just oversaturated. That's potentially an issue as well. What a time to be oversaturated when they're going to judge him on these numbers. Let's see here. David Q, I'm not explaining that term. If you want to find out about it, I suggest you Google it. Let's see here. Let's see here. Dre Film says, first Kramer, now Jerry, what's going on? I know, man. I know. They always say never meet your heroes, man. Zach, did I thank you for telling me you were glad that I felt better? But thank you. B Sponge says, hey, Grace, don't forget that Red 1 is a theatrical release. I did forget that it's a theatrical release. Thank you for reminding me. Amazon is going to release it in theaters. It seems like a good idea for a movie to me, but, it's going to have to look really good at this point. I'll review it because it's my job, but I think if I weren't a reviewer, it would be hard for me to watch it. The Brendan V says, is there a don't really care option? You have to care because that's the story we're discussing. That's right, Rob McDoodle. They'll never get Elaine. Because she's extremely savvy, by the way. I don't see that happening. Jonathan Gerardo says, comedy can be whatever it wants to be. Well, that's actually not totally true, Jonathan. You could be comedic any way that you want, but if you want a big studio to back you, well, then that's where the issue comes in. If you want them to pay for your stuff and to release it, well, then, yeah, they're going to have some notes because they're associated with it. Unless you're just such a big talent and you're already so famous that they just want the clicks. Chad says, I work in DEI, and I'll just say it's not an easy job, but I know the work I do is important. I didn't know you did that, Chad, a.k.a. CJ. Oh, that's so wonderful. The work you do is important, and I'm glad you take it so seriously. It must really be frustrating for you to see it slandered the way that it is online. Oh, Mika, that's what you meant. Well, you didn't mention that. Dwayne Johnson has an A24 movie with Emily Blunt and Benny Safdie directing that was announced a few months ago. Well, that's good. That's great. I'd be really surprised. Emily Blunt, she gets along with him very well. For some reason, I read that as Emma Stone, whose real name is actually Emily, by the way, and wants to change her name to Emily Stone. But I think that kind of takes away from the importance of Thandaway Newton changing her name for very different reasons. So I wouldn't change it. You want to boop Cool Hive? Just a moment. Staggervorce says, I don't think the word itself is bad, but it's the way people have been using it that's problematic. Well, they just ruined the word. The word is done. The W word is done. The Blair Wraith says, besides the W term, which other words are blocked so that I know not to use them when I'm trying to make a chat? It's a lot of words at this point, Blair Wraith. If your stuff's not showing up, it's because it has a blocked word in it. Astronomy 360, who is Elaine? Elaine is from Seinfeld. All right, hold on. Let me see here. I'm going to close the poll in just a minute, so make sure you get your vote in. Again, anyone who's watching can vote. Let's see here. Finn Moreau says that the W term has been bastardized by the right wing to vilify the efforts of women, LGBTQ, I think also, obviously, people of color. It was an innocent sentiment encouraging people to be aware of social injustice. Yeah, that's totally true, Finn. And it's very sad what happened to that word, but that word's dead. Because it just has such horrible connotations at this point. Chandler Crumlin says The Rock has always been a mid-movie star. His movies do better when there's an insult. I like The Rock. I think he's a really talented guy. I think he's got a lot of charisma. I just think he's made some mistakes. This last one was a real doozy. I wish someone had said, you can say what you want, but don't say that word. Holly Jervis, I think he's really panicking after the Black Adam situation, to be honest with you. Hey, Holly Jervis. Holly Jervis, I would say that Ellen DeGeneres has more than a little hole in her. She had a little bit of more than just a small hole in her nice guy persona. You know? I mean, it was pretty bad. Look at Dory does voices. Who is Elaine? Yeah, I know. You guys, Elaine's genius. Let's see here. Pearl, you're not blocked. You can see your quote. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, I believe most humans are decent and not hateful. There is no cultural shift. Yeah, hate does get the most clicks. It's been scientifically proven, in fact. Things that anger people get the most engagement. And so that's created a real problem for society. Jack, I've never heard anything bad about Emily Blunt. Okay. And then Stephen Turner says, to Jerry, Julia Louis-Dreyfus had a very edgy comedy in Veep, which wasn't long ago, and people loved that show. Yeah, that's true. That's very true, Stephen. But it had a smaller audience. For sure. All right, let me close the poll, and then I think we're ready to move on. All right, so I have to read the results because when the live stream re-airs, you don't see the results. All right, so how do you feel about Dwayne Johnson? 41% of you say you're disappointed but could forgive. That's very encouraging for Dwayne. Although 28% of you are done with him. That's not good. 22% still love the guy, all right? And then only 7% of you, but still, there's a group of you that love him even more. So I think he's definitely hurt his appeal, but I think he's not totally done. So I think that's and let's see, he might have ended up really appealing to the groups that he was trying to, the WWE fandom and the UFL fandom, right? But I think, at what cost? And, is he ended up keeping himself in that area instead of being able to stay in Hollywood as well? We'll see how those two things do. We'll see how Red 1 and Moana 2 both do. Speaking of being overexposed, I can't believe that he has... 2 films coming out for the holiday season at the same time. I mean, one is going to be, obviously voiceover work, but it's like, wow, why does he keep doing this? And that's right, Platinum Diva. He's already got a ton of money, and he'll always have some fans. So he'll always be able to work, and he'll always, he'll always be Dwayne Johnson. All right, so that's the first story of the day. All right, story number 2. Boop. What's going on at Paramount? We'll see if we end up covering this tomorrow. This is a very interesting developing story. I had hoped that it would finish by the end of the week and that I would be able to cover it, but so far it's not. But this is fascinating, so I'm going to explain it to you. All right? So as you know, Sherry Redstone, who wrestled the company of Viacom out of her father, Sumner Redstone's pretty much dead hands, okay? Because she really wanted to make a lot of money off of it. She's about to sell this thing, right? David Zaslav was kicking the tires for a potential merger, decided not to do it. But she has 2 suitors. David Ellison on the left, Byron Allen on the right. Byron Allen's still in it. I'm really rooting for Byron Allen. All right? And wait till you see how these deals work out. This is going to be scandalous. This could be potentially scandalous. All right? So right now, this is the final week. Tomorrow is the last day for the exclusive negotiations period for David Ellison's Skydance to make the purchase. Okay? After that, they can start entertaining other offers. So late last week, there were rumors that Bob Bakish, that dude up there, that guy, the CEO of Paramount, had been fired. All of Viacom. They changed the name from Viacom to all being called Paramount because they felt it was confusing. And I agree with that. It's Paramount. So there were rumors that Bob Bakish had been fired. And there was mass panic at Paramount because he was beloved and they felt he'd been doing a good job with the company. But it was rumored that he'd been fired. And people were like, hey, if Bob Bakish is getting fired, man, anyone could be fired. So everybody was freaking out. So it became official on Monday afternoon before the earnings call. And people, including myself, thought that maybe they would announce that they'd closed the deal with Skydance, but no such announcement was revealed. Instead, they just said that 3 executives would be taking over and running the company in Bob Bakish's place for the time being. And that also, people were saying behind the scenes that Bob Bakish was against the Skydance deal, so that was probably in their favor as to why he was fired. So when he got fired, a lot of people were like, oh, Skydance got it. But the deal is not closed. Wait till you hear the difference between these 2 deals. This is incredible. This is like a TV miniseries just waiting to happen. All right, so Skydance, the guy on the left, the guy on the far left, that's David Ellison, whose father, Larry Ellison, is behind Oracle. And, he's financed his son to start Skydance. They produce a lot of big-time movies, including most of Tom Cruise's movies, although Tom Cruise doesn't have a stake at the company. Oh, no, Subasisu. This isn't the $26 billion deal. All right, so the Ellisons made their best and final offer earlier this week. And their deal is worth about $5 billion only. What? So the white guy offered $5 billion, and then Byron Allen, the black gentleman there, is still offering $26 billion. All right, so why is there a difference in their offers? Well, apparently Paramount has 2 classes of stock, A class and B class. A class stock has a vote, and it's what Sherry Ellison owns. So it also has the controlling interest of the company. So the Ellisons have proposed coming in and only buying the A-class stock, which would give them, therefore, ownership of the company, even though they wouldn't be buying everybody out. Now, the Class B stockholders got so apoplectic, which is it's a fancy term for upset, when they heard about this deal that they've been threatening to sue. So in the latest deal, it was amended, even though it was best and final, okay? They amended it a little bit already, and they added like an extra $1 billion to kind of give a little bit of sugar to the Class B shareholders, all right? So that they wouldn't maybe get upset. Now, Apollo, which is Byron Allen, the black gentleman here, Byron Allen is still in it. and he's still offering the same $26 billion to take the company private. However, now Sony has backed him. They would be part of the deal, and they feel legitimacy because Sherry Redstone basically, the board at Paramount said they didn't feel like confident that Byron Allen would be able to actually give the $26 billion. So he got Sony to partner with him. What a king. He got Sony to partner with him and come back and say, we guarantee him. So that's amazing. So they want to take the company private, and this is the deal that investors would actually prefer because they all cash out. All right? Now, Byron Allen would be a very interesting winner here. This would make Paramount, thank you, Aralysis, this would make Paramount a black-owned studio. It would be the first time in history that this had happened in Hollywood. And it would be important not only for that reason, but because there are so few executives of color in Hollywood at all. All right? So that would be a huge deal. And then now with Sony in the mix, that would mean that or Paramount would have to get rid of a few things because we wouldn't be able to get government approval. For instance, they would have to get rid of CBS, everybody is saying. Now, Sherry Redstone is claiming she wants to keep the company whole, which is why she doesn't like the Apollo Sony offer. Byron Allen's company is called Apollo. So that's why she said she doesn't want the $26 billion deal. However, we've always talked about the fact that, did I thank, yeah, I did, Aralysis. Thank you for the membership. We've always talked about the fact that in today's Hollywood, the CEO's primary responsibility is to the shareholders. Now that cuts both ways. It sometimes leads them to make business-heavy decisions which hurt the creative, but also they have to make the best business decision for the shareholders when it comes to the sale. So she could say that she has a personal preference to keep the company whole, but she has no guarantee that Skydance isn't going to chop it up either. And she has a fiduciary. What is it? I'm trying to use the fancy term, but I can't say it. Fiduciary or whatever. She has a legal responsibility to the shareholders to get them the best deal possible. Not only, I did say it right. Huzzah, huzzah. Not only to get the fiduciary responsibility. Thank you, Isaac Lopez. I know I'm saying it. I think I'm saying it. Am I saying it right? It sounds weird when you say it, man. I'm used to just reading it. So anyway, I think they could sue if she didn't take the $26 billion deal because she's supposed to get them the best deal possible where they all make a lot of money. And she would personally benefit from the Skydance deal because she has Class A stock. So I think that puts her in fiduciary. You're right, Jack252. You got it right. It is fiduciary. Thank you. Look, the Platinum Diva would sue. I think a lot of Class B shareholders would sue because she picked a deal that benefited her personally and didn't benefit all of the shareholders. So, and also it was announced today that like before, it was reported that Apollo, Byron Allen, and Sony had combined forces and they were going to come back to the table. But today, right before the exclusive window to accept the Skydance offer closes, Sony and Byron Allen officially approached the board and said, our $26 billion deal is real. Let's discuss. We're ready to discuss as soon as this exclusive negotiating window closes. So it's a very interesting story. So we'll see what happens. It's taken forever. I think because they don't want to get sued. And I think they almost certainly would. So I officially don't favor any buyer because, I will continue to work with Paramount no matter what. But as I did say, that the Byron Allen win would be historic. So, I think it's very interesting. And I did say, no matter what happens, I think he can really feel good that he did an incredible job negotiating this and that he didn't back down. He's come at Paramount 3 different times. He tried to first just buy BET, then he came back with the all-cash offer. I think he had 2 offers. I think he came in at a lower number, then he raised it to $26 billion, and then even when they didn't take that, then he went and got Sony. I mean, I'm really impressed with how, I mean, that's the way legends are forged. And he's been a fighter his whole career. I told you that he started out as a stand-up comedian coming up with the likes of Eddie Murphy. And it's just really an incredible story. Started out with affiliates. That's how he built his fortune. Then he bought the Weather Channel. Maybe now Paramount. That would be incredible. So we'll see what they decide to do. It's a very, very interesting situation. I don't want to run a poll about it either. You guys, don't get me in trouble, guys. Don't do it. Don't get me in trouble. But that's the Paramount situation, and it's fascinating. All right. It's not so easy owning Paramount, is it, Sherry? All right. Sherry's on her way out, so we can say that. All right. Subasisu says, any questions or comments about this? Subasisu says, why would anyone back Sony joining this deal? Isn't their film division abysmal at the moment? Well, I think that's a fair question. I wouldn't know if I'd say abysmal. But I think that, who cares? They're backing Byron Allen. I think that's crucial. And I think that they're really just allowing Byron Allen to own this company. So I think it's incredible. Oh, the Platinum Divas, as Byron Allen does have a show with stand-up comedians. I'm glad you like that show. I haven't had a chance to see it myself. Poke says, what about Warner Brothers? Isn't it going to be sold? Yeah, but Zazzy's in no rush, especially because he's on fire right now. He's just driving up the price. Although I don't think the stock's still doing particularly well. But yeah, Zazzy's gonna, Zazzy didn't wait all this time for pennies. Maybe he wants to see what kind of deal happens here. Martine says, wow, Grace, you really sold me on Byron, even though I still think the amount he's offering is a little too much. It might be too much, but he really wants Paramount because I think he knows what it would mean for the industry and for his own legacy. I mean, he would immediately go into the history books. I mean, that's worth $26 billion. J. Jonah Jameson, what stocks are up? Paramount stocks are up, but I don't know about Warner Brothers. Aided Buffalo says, the last time there was a black studio, Hollywood ran it out of town. New Millennium Studios. Isn't that sad? So many stories like that in the world. This would upset the power structure. Well, I think Byron Allen would, I think he would work very hard to still be a studio for all, but I think he would certainly be a home for talent of color. I think it would be huge in that regard. But I think he would still very much want to make all types of films because he also would have a responsibility to his shareholders. But I do think you would have, I'm certain there would be more executives of color in the Paramount executive suite. And that alone would be a huge win. That would be incredible. That's right, your little dog too. Sony legally cannot own the CBS TV station, which is why people are saying it would need to be sold. It's very succession-y. The board, it's not just Sherry has to agree to this, but the whole board does. And so I'm sure she's lobbying the board for what she thinks, and the board doesn't want to get sued. It's just very interesting. Barris says, hi, Grace, currently on vacation in France, just popping in to say hi. One more, your membership's going to expire. Oh, well, you'll probably get another one, Barra, because I can see you're a big commentator and you've been a member for a while. I hope you're having a great time in France. Let's see here. I'm not sure why they can't legally own CBS. I would suspect maybe because they're an overseas company and they can't own a network, maybe? Is that the rule, maybe? Poke, you made it to a year. Randall says, hey, Grace, what do you think David Zaslav is waiting for, or is it just price? Hey, Seattle Law Nerd, thank you for your generosity. That's so kind of you. You don't know what Zazzy's doing. He might be making deals right now. He might be putting out feelers. Zazzy's very connected. He's got a lot of friends in the business. You don't know what Zazzy's up to. He might surprise you. Like, remember when the Paramount thing came out of nowhere that he was even considering Paramount? They were like, Warner Brothers might merge with Paramount. And we were like, what the fudge? To quote Lucy from Fallout. Thanks, Dory. The sun, it's hard to film at this time of day, but today the sun's, because of the cloud cover, it's okay. Blair Wraith says if he does get the company, I hope his studio doesn't go the way of Oprah Winfrey. Let's see. I told you, I think Byron Allen seems to me to be a good business person. I mean, look at this deal he's putting together. The music lawyer liked our fiduciary duty talk, our legal talk. Oh, so because you're a lawyer? We try and cover all kinds of stuff here on Beyond the Trailer. Oh, Rusty clarifies. That's it, Grace. A foreign corporation is not allowed to own a broadcast network. That makes sense. And also, networks are on their way out, so let's just sell it, right? They have Paramount Plus, a streaming service, and they can own that. All right, Poke wants to fast forward. I think we are ready for the third story, and then we'll do the Q&A. All right, third story of the day. Boom, baby. Oh, look at this. All right, so right now, Deadline is running. They do this, I think, every year. I think it's at least once a year. And they do their most valuable blockbusters tournament. And they do like a financial breakdown of the big movies of the year before. But they had a fun little story today, which I first saw quoted, actually, by Film Update. Give them credit where credit is due. And they had a nifty little thing here that you can see they did it on social media, where they talked about the most profitable small to mid-budget films in 2023. Now, I couldn't believe it. Anyone But You made a profit. Not how much it, that's how much it earned after it recouped its expenses. $103 million. That's incredible. I mean, no wonder Glenn Powell's getting all the offers. I mean, that's amazing. I think that's why Sydney Sweeney's doing pretty good. I don't know why director, co-writer Will Gluck's not getting anything off of it. He has one movie with a decent cast in the works called Jackpot, but that's been in the works since 2016. But it was a great little rom-com. And the great thing about it was that it also, not only was Anyone But You like this very sexy, naughty, like romantic comedy, but it came out at the perfect time. It came out at the holiday season, as you might recall, and it enjoyed the post-holiday wasteland where nothing is released. And we've seen many movies benefit from that wasteland after the holidays. Wonka, The Greatest Showman, Aquaman, Jumanji, even Avatar is able to get as high as it does because there's nothing else to see. So people are like, let's go see that movie for the third or fourth time. Well, thank you, Jack. I mean, I don't, it helps me to know if you guys are ready to move on. But yeah, I think people are pretty good about it. But I think Jack makes a good point as well. All right, so then the other thing is, which I can see a number of you already pointing out, is that you can see why horror is still so beloved by Hollywood. All 4 other movies are horror films. Although, wow, Anyone But You. If that doesn't bring back the romantic comedy in theaters, I don't know what will. That's just an incredible number. But Insidious, The Red Door made $92 million. Nobody even talked about that movie. Patrick Wilson directed that. Like, that was so little talked about. It's just incredible that it made almost $100 million profit. That's just amazing to me. The Nun 2 made 85. Scream 6 made 60 million. And then Evil Dead Rise made, what does that say? $46 million. I mean, that's just amazing. And, so right now everybody's saying, send the small movies to streaming. Send them to streaming. But when you get the right type of movie and you release it theatrically, and this is obviously worldwide, look at the money that you can make. I think that the expensive drama, it might be dead when you spend like over $50 million on the budget. But if you can keep your budget below 50, preferably even lower, it's worth rolling the dice in the theater. I mean, we've been talking about like Argyle. That was a $200 million purchase. That was ridiculous. But I didn't mean to shade Challenger's vegan music, but yeah, 55 is high for that movie. That means everybody got paid up front. And I would maybe advise Zendaya in the future to take back end. And she might be like, but I don't think there's going to be any back end on this movie. And I'd say, well, what do you care? You make so much money off of Dune and Spider-Man. You don't need the money off this movie. Instead, make it be successful. Make people talk about what a nifty little movie you put together and how it's still turned a profit. You don't want to be, it's much worse to be the albatross around, the financial albatross around a film's neck. So, I mean, that's why back end is so important. I think back end, I would always, if I were an agent, I mean, I don't know, to some degree, get paid. Take that money and run. But I don't know if that's a model for longevity, because if you leave enough movies in your wake financially, then people aren't going to be too happy about that. All right, so does anybody have questions or comments about this story before we get to the Q&A? And it's so nice to see so many people on the live. Thank you for joining. Even if you're not a member, I see you, and I appreciate you very much. Silver Scale says an effective rom-com is also evergreen. How many times have you rewatched Bridesmaids? Silver Scale, that's a great comment, because Dermot Mulroney, at least I think it was him, there's two guys who everybody mixes up. But he's actually in Anyone But You. And he said that after he was in My Best Friend's Wedding, he was very disappointed that he didn't get more offers. And he said it's because he feels like he was too small on the poster, and you're like, dude, you weren't an important part of the movie, that's why. But he said he was really shocked that he didn't get more offers off of that, and also he wanted to do serious work. And he said now that he's older and he's had his career, he said he would actually advise up-and-coming actors against that kind of disdain, because he said the emotional footprint of rom-coms and feel-good movies just cannot be beat. Is it Dermot Oh, you're making a joke, little baby pizza, but that's very funny. I think you've combined them into one. But yeah, I just feel like that was a really smart comment, and it's very true. Because I think that, people, oh yes, that's right, your little dog too. It's Dermot Mulroney and Dylan McDermott. This is Dermot Mulroney, I believe. But that's true. I mean, it gives people such joy for decades, for lifetimes, generations. I just think I think it was very wise of him to point that out. That's right, Elliot. He was also in Scream 6. He's crazy with that buzz cut he's got. He was hilarious in Anyone But You. It was a crazy, crazy role. What's everyone's favorite rom-com? I see a lot of you putting down rom-coms that you like. Amparo loves rom-coms. David loves Crazy Rich Asians. Oh, Morphed. I love When Harry Met Sally. I watch that every fall. That's a great one. I guess that would be mine. Notting Hill, Set It Up, 13 Going on 30, Bridesmaids, Sweet Home Alabama, Breakfast at Tiffany's. That's a crazy one, but that's, of course, a classic. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Didn't Ariana Grande just make a whole ode to that? Mamma Mia, 50 First Dates Again, The Holiday, Love Actually, Pretty Woman. Look at all these. Let's see here. Mamma Mia. Let's see here. Maid of Honor. Oh, that's awesome. And then Paul Brunel says, I really hope the Anyone But You crowd shows up for Twisters. I think that's a different crowd, but I hope it does really well. All right. Hold on a second. I just want to check something. For those of you who are asking, I just saw somebody say that Byron Allen's company is not Apollo Global Management. Let me see here. And I believe he has two companies, and that's the confusion. He is having layoffs right now at his Allen Media Group. Let me see here. Yeah, he has both companies. Okay, that's the confusion. You scared me there, man. Wandering Seth, Wandering Seth. I use Adobe programs. Let's see here. So Byron Allen has 2 separate companies, and one is doing some layoffs right now. It was just announced. All right. So let's go to the Q&A. I just had to check that. All righty. Q&A time, baby. Where'd it go? Boom, baby. 10 minutes. It's 7:11. Oh, that's funny. It's 7:11, so you can ask me anything you like until 7:21. Oh, Josh, I saw a headline. You said it's the 20th anniversary for Mean Girls, and I saw them saying that Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams would both still do a sequel, but I think that the reboot just totally killed that. Let's see here. Oh, your little dog too says, Grace, how about a poll of who should be a He-Man? I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about He-Man tomorrow. We need stories for tomorrow. Let me see here. Let me write it down. Hold on. So we'll talk about that maybe tomorrow. Thanks for the reminder. Oh, let's see here. That's right, Stephen Turner. Will Gluck did do Easy A, but he didn't write it. He did direct it, though. Poke says, isn't Kraven the Hunter bad? They moved it to December. Yeah, I'm sad they moved it off of its Labor Day weekend date. That was a beautiful release date. I wouldn't have moved it. I think that move could kill that movie. Sebastian says, no actor, you can't push a movie too far. Sebastian says, no actor seems to be able to draw money all by themselves, as was the case years ago. Should we approach discussions about actors and box office differently? There are still some actors who can do it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Denzel Washington, they're still stars. And there always is some people, some actors have said, Paul Newman said, in the right role, he's priceless. It was a great quote from him. And I still think there are some actors who, as well. Timothy Chalamet is maybe becoming a star. I think it's still possible. MM92 says, hi, Grace. I'm curious, how do you handle toxicity in social media? Block, baby. Block, block, block. There ain't no shame in blocking people for your own sanity. And I always see people be like, oh, if you block me, you're shutting down conversation. You can't take, it's like, I don't block somebody who disagrees with me. I block somebody who attacks me. And so that's not really a discussion. Mars73 says, hey, Grace, I'm really enjoying your weekly reviews of X-Men 97. Yay, thank you. X-Men 97 is definitely your favorite show of 2024 so far. Do you think DeMeo will be back at the show as the showrunner for the show anytime soon? That's impossible for me to speculate on, Mars73. Ethan says, will you be doing a Bad Batch series finale review? Probably not, because nobody's talking about it, which is sad, because it was really good. I feel bad for that show. Haunted Autumn says, graduating college tomorrow. Oh, hooray! So I might miss the show. I just wanted to say thank you to Grace and everyone in the BTT community. Couldn't have done this without all of you. This is my happy place. We'll be up there with you in spirit, Haunted Autumn. Throw your cap in the air for us. Raju says, Saturday is free comic book day. Which ones do you recommend? I didn't even know it was free comic book day. Let me see. Free comic book day 2024. They usually just reprint stuff, which I find a little frustrating. See, that's what I see a lot of. I see a lot of reprinting stuff, or like previews. I honestly, because they're free, and when I used to participate in Free Comic Book Day, the store that I would go to would just have bundles ready, and they would just hand you a bundle with everything in it. And that's what I would advise that you do. Just take everything because it's free, and then see what you like. That's the whole point of it, right? And then they hope that you'll go on and maybe buy something later. But thanks for reminding everybody, Ruju, and I hope that you have a great time. And it's usually a fun time at the store. Sometimes they have like little celebration stuff to have a little party. So I hope the store near you is doing something fun like that. Hector says, as X-Men 97 comes to an end, any idea when we'll get season 2? Pretty fast, I think, because they were already writing season 3. Let's see here. Alexander Wilson, I'm seeing Byron Allen's name in all the coverage of this Paramount deal. So I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. Let's see here. Hold on, I'm going back because I missed some comments there. Fabin also asked what I thought of the Bad Batch finale. I thought it was really incredible. I thought that whole show was perfect. I just loved it. I thought it was really, it was a joy to watch. Ben says, hey Grace, how are you feeling about Furiosa's chances at the box office? I hope it does well. We need all the hits we can get this summer. Mark says, with the ending of Shogun on Disney, I find my next drama on Disney, We Were the Lucky Ones. This is a really powerful story with Joey King and Logan Lerman. So would like to know, what do you think of it? Well, Mark, I haven't seen that show, but I'm glad that you found something exciting to watch. I think that's really awesome. You know, I'm right. There's nothing that's like I'm always ahead of you guys because I get screeners. Like, I've already watched all of Hacks season 3, but I think it's incredible. I'm really excited about this Benedict Cumberbatch show that they dropped the trailer for today that's going to be on Netflix at the end of the month. That to me looked really special. Blair Rafe says, Paul Walter Hauser just got added to Fantastic Four. Who do you think that he is cast as? Well, I have no information, no insider scoop on this, to be clear, but I think we all know that he's probably voicing Herbie. I think that's what we all guess. I saw somebody guess Mole Man, which was actually a pretty good guess as well, but I think it's going to be something like that. I hope, he better be careful because he's also going to be in the Chris Farley biopic, and he's going to be in The Naked Gun, I think they announced. I think that was that. But I think he doesn't want to get overexposed all of a sudden. Let's see here. Platinum Diva says she misses rom-coms, comedy shows like In Living Color and Mad TV. I've had a number of people recently tell me they miss network television. I think it would be good to get something back like that that's short and sweet, that you can just enjoy if you're looking for something to just unwind with. Paul, I just answered your question. Aiden Williams says, I missed you so much this week, Grace. I missed you guys too. I'm glad you're feeling better. Just wanted to say thanks for your support of my gender identity during the Inside Access stream. Your kind words made my week. My pleasure, Aiden. And we respect your pronouns of she and her. I hope, as I said before, I hope that when your journey is done, you feel like your true self. Nick says, Tom Blythe or Jacob Elordi for MCU Cyclops. Neither. I don't like either of those guys for that role. I thought Taron Egerton would be good, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. My review says, Grace, I edited a comic. I will tweet it to you. I'll try and take a look at it, but yeah, please, thank you for thinking of me. That's right, Alberto. Sandra Bullock still sells tickets, too. Oh, Jonathan, the Scooby-Doo Netflix series. I was like, what else did I want to include? That's going to talk in tomorrow's stream for sure. Hold on. Thank you. My bad. I was like, what is the story I wanted to cover? I knew there was something else. Ricardo says, didn't Killers of the Flower Moon bomb? Well, Leonardo DiCaprio is not a miracle worker. I thought that movie was really bad and offensive, and I think other people agreed. But it's not considered a bomb because of all the award nominations it got. But I don't think it got for DiCaprio, off the top of my head. But, still, I think it was valuable in that regard. Also, Scorsese sure has his defenders, boy. Like, wow. Oh, Boone Kwai says, did you see in Deadline that Chris Stuckman's film, Chris Stuckman is a fellow movie reviewer, gained Mike Flanagan as a producer? I think this movie is going to be, you think the movie is going to be big. Love to see you cover it. I think that's very exciting. I think that's obviously a huge get for Chris Stuckman to get Mike Flanagan. That's a perfect match with the film that he's making. We'll see what kind of distributor it gets, and that will certainly help it get distribution. Carrot says, thanks, Grace, for being so amazing. Airbnb has an X-Men 97 mansion for rent. Will you go to it? No, I will not go to it, but I did think that was very nice. I think the problem with these things is that they're hard to get to. Like, this is in upstate New York, which I guess technically I could try and get to if I really wanted to. Then also they're having like an Up, from the Pixar animated movie. But that's like in the middle of New Mexico, man. Like, I think they should do maybe virtual experiences if they want more people to be able to participate in these things. And maybe there will be a virtual component, because it seems crazy to spend all this money on a house and we don't then go get to see the whole thing. Maybe there'll be like videos that they upload to YouTube. That'd be fine. I'd be fine with that. I'd watch the heck out of the videos about these places, but I don't want to actually go to them. Let's see here. Astronomy says, finishing up my first year of college tomorrow. Oh, yay! Looking forward to starting engineering classes next spring. What an exciting profession. I at least have a month off until classes start in June, so going to relax and study. Look at you, taking time to relax, but still forging ahead. Good for you. Danny Dunphy says, you don't have to attend every conversation you're invited to join. Truer words have never been spoken, Danny. That should be on a pillow somewhere. Does Brooke not feel good? Oh, Brooke says, hi, Grace. Just wanted to say you're such a ray of sunshine like the one behind you, and you've helped ease my depression. I love you too, Brooke. Don't feel sad. I'm glad that I could help you out a little bit. As I've always said, because I'm honored to be able to have helped out a couple of people at this point, I always say that the most important thing is that you're aware of your mental health and that you're trying to do something about it. And that, in this case, is identifying things that can help you feel better. And that's really important, to realize that you're not doing well and to realize you need to do something about it and to have some idea of what you need to do. But if you're really depressed, Brooke, I would advise you seek out some professional help, because that person can really responsibly help you. There are lots of hotlines you can call. That's what I would advise. Let's see here. Sock Lee says, what is up with Henry Cavill's Highlander? Is it definitely still a go? I think so. How could it not be with Henry Cavill and Chad Stahelski? I think Lionsgate will move ahead with that for sure. Oh, Dream says Adam Wingard directing Thundercats. Was that just announced? Didn't he just sign an A24 deal? Was it just announced that he's directing Thundercats? I know he wants to direct Thundercats. Let me see. I think he just wants to. I don't know, man. Don't direct Thundercats if you're going to mess it up. Like, we're going to talk about the He-Man thing tomorrow, but I guess I'll just tell you now. They describe a story that sounds nothing like He-Man. So I'm like, why do you even bother? What is the point of doing this? My review says, Grace, do you think we'll get a trailer for The Boys? Well, they are going to be at Mexico's Comic-Con tomorrow evening. I'm trying to find out if we're getting a trailer, but I have not heard anything yet. I sure hope they don't drop a trailer on a Friday night. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. Like, don't drop a trailer on. I mean, I can understand wanting to have a trailer at Mexico Comic-Con and saving something for them, but like, dude, don't do it to us. I guess I don't want Mexico Comic-Con to not be happy. So give them the trailer, but I don't know if I'm going to cover it. Jack, I haven't seen Unfrosted, and I don't plan to. It looks awful to me. I mean, unless I have a relative who wants to watch it, then I might sit through it, but I'm not going to cover it. Unless it's like shockingly good. But even then, I'm kind of upset with Jerry Seinfeld's comments, so let's see here. Your little brother Gabriel says, Grace, do you think we could get a revival of our DC animated legacy shows like Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, and Teen Titans? I don't know. I don't know if I think they're just going to stick with the animated series they have. All right, it's been 10 minutes. I must go. It's getting very late. It's getting very late here. 80s Model, thank you for gifting a membership. That's so nice of you. It's so nice to see everybody. I'm so glad to be able to be back. Thank you for your patience, and thanks for joining me again when I was able to return. And I'm glad I'm feeling much better. All right, quick shout-outs. Where are you? What are you doing? Diego says, could you give my roommates Josh and Jerry a shout-out? They overhear you all the time at home and said you're a roommate at this point. Hey guys, glad to be a roomie. Hey, Josh and Jerry. Terry says, so happy to catch this entire stream today, Grace. You made eating my leftover pizza better. Ooh, leftover pizza. And now I can eat my piece of chocolate cake for dessert. What a Thursday night meal, Terry. I love it. I'm glad I was able to keep you company. I know how important it is to have something good to entertain you while you eat a good meal. And I'm honored that I was that for your pizza chocolate cake dinner. Thank you, Silver Scale. Oh yeah, Blair Wraith, the Jeff Bridges and Tron 3 story. I missed so much this week. I'm glad he's back. I mean, I knew he would be back. You can't make that movie without him. You just can't do it. Let's see here. Finn, that's very kind of you to send that message to Brooke. That's very nice of you. Look at everybody saying hi to Josh and Jerry. I love it. I love it. Let's see here. 80s Model says, bye, Grace. I hope you feel even better tomorrow. Thank you. Rob, I'm so glad you enjoyed the chat. DK is a new member in Los Angeles. I love LA. Well, Jamie's also in California doing finance. I love that. Fine. It's like business time. Finance. Blair Wraith is currently in Chicago picking up some carbonara in my Airbnb. You're in an Airbnb. You already have the Airbnb vibe. Maybe you'll head to one of these places. Thanks, Hugo. Thank you for the well wishes. AJ says, nursing a headache with some tea and giving my puppy lots of pets. Well, that's got to help your headache, right? I love you too, Dakota. Griffin says, listening to my favorite YouTuber, and finishing up a Spanish exam in your head. That's incredible. Elliot Bullock says, I'm at home with my congestion in my throat. Feel better, Elliot. So now you're not feeling well. Well, Aiden is prepping for her finals next week. Super excited to go home for the summer and see her family again. That's great. I love it. Let's see here. RJ is at Target shopping. Target. I love Target. They got a lot of fun stuff there. Ethan says, I got to see Sweeney Todd in New York City recently. It was amazing. They were sold out of glasses, but Lin-Manuel Miranda was sitting right behind me. You should have asked him for his glass if he had one. I didn't get to talk to him, but it was still super cool. Of course it was super cool. You should always ask to take a photo, though, because I bet Lin-Manuel Miranda was sitting there wondering, why doesn't anybody want to take a photo with me? So next time, I was once at a play, I'm blanking on, I can't believe this. Hold on. Sterling K. Brown was there. And I ran up and I got my picture with him. He was so great. I loved him. He was so nice. I was like, I got to do it because I love Sterling K. Brown so much. Luis, I'm sorry that YouTube didn't inform you about the stream. I have notifications turned on my private account to make sure they're going up. And I always see them on time. Maybe you should turn off notifications and turn them back on. Thanks, Terry. Ricardo says, going to a Sounds of the 80s party tomorrow. Have a great weekend, Grace. Hey, Brian and Ricardo. 80s music is awesome. Have a great time. Yeah, Silver Scale. The streams always make all of us very hungry because you guys are eating good. While Jason is eating beef and eggs and writing music. Beef and eggs? What an interesting combo. A lot of protein for you, Jason. Randall says, listening to the stream on a 5-mile walk around the park. Whoa, we're keeping you company. That's awesome. Oh, wow. I bet you got pretty far. Let's see here. Jack says, how many memberships do I have to give to get an unfrosted review? I'm not going to do it. I don't want to get your hopes up, Jack. Let's see here. And Wandering Life says, happy to have caught a late stream. I'm glad you did too, Wandering Life. That's a nice photo of you. I like being able to see you guys. Josh Zeitler says, on a walk enjoying the sunshine in upstate New York. Does it look like this near you too? And then Albert Diaz says, also down with the cold here. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. It's a spring cold. Be careful. It goes from warm to cold in just a second. And Silver Scale says, just chilling in San Diego, listening to traffic below. Oh, that's cozy. And Anna Kosel, hey Anna, says, prepping for my last final of the semester at Indiana University before I finish my junior year of college. Next semester, I start my undergraduate thesis and will graduate with honors. You inspire me. I'm honored, Anna, and I'm so happy, I'm so thrilled that you're doing so well. You seem to be thriving. And so it makes me very excited for whatever you'll be pursuing next. That's so cool. And Lisa, hey Lisa, is making dinner with her dog in Wisconsin. And Jareem is contemplating dinner in Cleveland. I hope we gave you some ideas. And SMR Goose just got out of the movie Fall Guy and loved my review. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. And Dana O'Leary is making turkey burgers. Much love from North Virginia. You guys are great. All right, I better go. I must go. I'll see you tomorrow. And thank you again for joining me today. I had a great time. Anna says, graduate school plus getting my American Sign Language minor is up next. Look at you, Anna. Firing on all cylinders. I love it. Good night, Terry. Extra toodles to you too, Ricky Richie. I love that. Extra toodles. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.